Damsgaard is the midfield three with Embuemo, Vissa and Shada leading the line, whereas Chelsea have made 5 changes from their 1-0 victory at home to Spurs midweek. That sees Colwill, Cucurella, Neto, Palmer and Jackson all drop out of the side for Adarabioyo, James, Madueke, Dewsbury Hall and Nkunku. The starting 11 for Maresca's side is Sanchez, James, Adarabioyo, Chalobah and Gusto as the back four. Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez in the midfield with Madueke, Dewsbury Hall and Sancho just behind Nkunku, who leads the line. Kick-off fast approach. And we will leave that just there because we are underway at the GTEC Community Stadium. It's Brentford that hosts Chelsea for this Premier League clash. Brentford coming off the back of a 2-1 loss to Newcastle midweek, and Chelsea are coming off the back of a resounding 1-0 victory at home to big rivals Spurs. In the end, Chelsea, they could have had a couple more goals in that game. Caicedo thought he'd scored an absolute beauty in that one as well, but it did get eventually rolled out. Slightly quick start to this one. 25 seconds in. Chelsea have got an attacking free kick already in this one. I'll bring you the lineup shortly. But we'll await what can potentially happen from these set pieces. Chelsea have made a lot of changes into this one as well. Maresca saying that they've got one eye looking towards that first leg against Legia Warsaw, which is coming up. Reece James over the free kick, whips it, it's great delivery. Adarabioyo gets there. I'm not sure if he got a touch on it. In the end, it gets to the back post, and then I believe it was Nkunku flying in. He puts it over the bar in the end. A good early opportunity for Chelsea. They all looked on the side. Adarabioyo, I don't know if he touches it in the end. It's myself, Kieran Graham, alongside Will Maxwell to bring you coverage of this one. And Chelsea, I mean, only a minute in, knocking on the door.
Yeah, they've started this game very, very quickly. It's a wonderful ball in from the free kick. Looking at the replay, I don't think Tosan gets a touch to it, but it's a really awkward header for Nkunku because it's bouncing up towards him. He's quite a diminutive figure anyway, is the French forward. He can't get his body over his effort. It sends him quite comfortably over and wide of Mark Flecken's goal, but it's Chelsea that are in the ascendancy in these early exchanges.
Yeah, good start for Chelsea in this one. Thomas Frank's made 2 changes from that 2-1 loss to Newcastle. It sees 2 regulars almost in Janel and Pinnock drop out of the starting lineup, with Ayer and Damsgaard coming in, and that means they've got a starting 11 of Flecken in goal. It looks to be a back 4 of Ayer, Collins, Vandenberg and Lewis Potter, with Yarmolenko, Norgard and Damsgaard in midfield, with Embuemo, Vissa and Shada as the front 3s. We just see Brentford trying to get forwards now with a long diagonal towards that left-hand side. Chalobah wins his header. It falls to Lewis Potter, who's going to drive forwards now, having a run at Madueke. He's on the left-hand side, cuts onto his right foot, whips the ball in towards the back post. It falls to Embuemo, hits it first time towards the back post again, and the strike goes side netting. Embuemo, I believe, hit the initial strike. Vissa was the man following in, just couldn't hook it back across Rob Sanchez's goal. But it's 2 opportunities, similar opportunities actually. The Vissa one, similar to Nkunku from the tight angle, it ends up not getting the real connection on it. Sanchez stumbled in the build-up as well, but it's a lively opening 3 minutes.
It's a very lively start to this game. It's another really awkward effort for a forward in this game. First of all, Mbeumo does so well to get the ball back in towards the area, but the ball bounces so high for Vissa. Does so well to get any form of contact on it. There's another opportunity here for Shana. He puts the ball in, and Sanchez does well to gather. But yeah, with Vissa's effort, can't get his leg high enough to actually keep it down and wrap his foot around it. He puts it into the side netting, but both sides showing their intent in these opening 3 minutes.
Yeah, really good start to this one. Good intensity to it, like Will mentions, as we see Chelsea just having a bit of possession now, but then they go long, looking down that left-hand side. In the end, it's a poor overhit pass that goes out for a throw. Maresca, as I mentioned, he made it very clear in the conferences before this game. He's got one eye looking towards that first leg against Legia Warsaw, a competition that they're really going to prioritise. A good opportunity at Silverware. So he's made 5 changes from that midweek victory against Spurs. It sees, I mean, a majority of their key players actually drop out of the side in Colwill, Cucurella, Neto, Palmer and Jackson. I'll break off for the moment because Nkunku's in towards the penalty area on the left-hand side. He's been well stood up by Collins. In the end, he's forced back towards Jadon Sancho into the penalty area again on the left-hand side. Well stood up once again, this time by Ayer. It's going to be Reece James now, who's playing left back, it seems, today. I wasn't sure whether it was going to be Gusto left back or Reece James. It does seem to be the Englishman filling in for Cucurella. You see Madueke down the right side into the area, puts the ball in, doesn't take a deflection in the end. It's off balance. A little bit confused as to how they've not got a corner there, but it's going to be a goal kick for Brentford, and I can give you the starting 11 for Chelsea now. So Sanchez is in goal, James comes in for Cucurella, Adarboyo comes in for Colwill, Chalobah and Gusto. It's the ever-present midfield of Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, with Madueke and Dewsbury Hall coming into the starting lineup, as well as Sancho returning at his place, and then Kunku comes in for Jackson up front. You feel like this is an opportunity today for a lot of these Chelsea players. Dewsbury Hall and Kunku, you almost think even Madueke has been a little bit in and out as of late. It's an opportunity for them to not necessarily solidify a starting place. In a big game, he's never going to not start the likes of Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson, is he? But you've got to take your chances.
Yeah, especially in this sort of side. Chelsea, their depth in each position is frankly scary. So if you are a player currently playing for Chelsea, you cannot afford to have an off day, because if you don't perform, you're going to fall down what is a sizable pecking order, and it might be quite some time before you get your chances again. So for many of these players, this is a really big opportunity. In particular, you're probably looking at likes of Kin and Dewsbury Hall, who's been such a peripheral figure over the course of this campaign. He needs to make a name for himself today for Chelsea.
Yeah, certainly does. Dewsbury Hall had a decent cameo off the bench against Tottenham. I think was just given the role of just run at absolutely everybody, just off the ball, just be the man that applies the press every single time. It's his first real touches of the game. Just then, 6 minutes on the clock, still 0-0. Damsgaard bundles Dewsbury Hall to the ground. It looks like fine conditions in London for this one. You know, we've hit that time of the season where you see players wearing those short sleeve shirts all across the pitch. You don't see the gloves being worn any time soon, and we have hit that stage of the season where the sun is starting to come out regularly. So I think that's always the best stage of the season, as we see Madueke down the right hand side looking to potentially have a run at his man, but in the end it just goes back to Enzo Fernandez. Brentford have won only one of their last 4 league matches, so the form isn't necessarily brilliant for Thomas Frank's side, but you almost say form goes out the window when you go into almost derby match, and of course this is a London derby. As you see Adarboyo in towards James. Now it's going to be James again as he picks it up once more off Caicedo. Just starting to slow the tempo down a little bit at Chelsea, just trying to gain a little bit of control.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they are doing. They've got the vast majority of the possession. They're frustrating Brentford. They're playing it from side to side, keeping them stretched. Not really too much cutting edge or quality in the final third currently. Of course, we're still very early on in this contest, but Enzo Maresca, I think, is definitely going to be the happier of the two managers so far.
Yeah, he certainly will be, as we see Adarboyo in towards Caicedo once again. Brentford not necessarily applying too much of a press when Chelsea have the ball in the middle of the park. Here's Gusto in a lot of space down the right hand side, driving forwards. He finds Enzo Fernandez, plays it across towards Caicedo. And it's going to be a switch ball to the right hand side once more. Madueke, nice first touch. Once again, he's been well stood up by Lewis Potter, can't take him on. Enzo Fernandez looks to return it. Madueke, he thought about making the run and continuing the run. In the end, he just slowed down. Fernandez played the pass anyway, which means it goes straight into the hands of Fleck. And 8 minutes into this one, just starting to see Chelsea gain a little bit of control, like we mentioned so far. There is 2 other games on as well. They're both 0-0. Fulham at home to Liverpool and Tottenham against Southampton. Brentford on the attack now down the left hand side, ball into the penalty area, looking for Johan Visser. Has he kept it in play? Yes, he has. Back towards Schade on the left hand side, whips it in, does the German. Really poor cross though. In the end, it's straight into the path of Rob Sanchez, and I mean, there was absolutely no one really attacking that, and even if there were, they'd have really had no chance.
No chance whatsoever. It's been pretty poor going forward at the moment from Brentford. They've had that one opportunity with Johan Visser in the early exchanges, which they weren't able to hit the target with. Apart from that, they've barely made an indent in the Chelsea half, let alone the Chelsea defensive third currently. That's something that's going to have to change. They need that prolonged spell of possession to really start getting at this Chelsea side. Chelsea, in recent weeks, yes, they've had good results. They haven't conceded many, but they haven't scored many either. So if they can keep them at bay on one end, they could have every chance to get something from this game. But they need much more quality in the final third than they're currently producing.
Yeah, certainly do. Madueke goes back to his goalkeeper. under a little bit of pressure there. Caicedo can potentially turn out. It's interesting. I wonder whether Shrewsbury Hall maybe playing in that position where Palmer usually plays maybe gives Enzo Fernandez a little bit more freedom to go forwards as well. It'll be interesting to see how Chelsea's attack almost pans out throughout the next maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. See if Shrewsbury Hall's drifting left quite a lot as well, which is allowing Reece James to invert, and as he does that, he plays the ball in behind looking for Nkunku. Once again, just not necessarily on the same wavelength. That's going to happen today, isn't it, with these Chelsea players? They won't have played with each other a lot at Premier League. You think a lot of the appearances of some of these players have come in the European competition or in cup games, like Shrewsbury Hall and Nkunku, etc. Even Sancho, who's just recently found his place back in the starting lineup in the Premier League. So it's going to take a while for them to maybe find that rhythm between each other.
Yeah, it definitely is going to take a little while. It might take another 15, 20 minutes or so before we actually see them begin to show a little bit more quality and get that chemistry where it needs to be. They need just that one spark of brilliant backline, and you think based on, at least looking on paper, the individual quality that each of these players have should be more than enough to take home all 3 points. But if they can't work as a team, they could be caught out.
Yeah, certainly could be. The possession is back with Chelsea once again. Shrewsbury Hall now drifting out to the left once more. It's almost like it's a 4-3-3 at the moment for Chelsea. Shrewsbury Hall doesn't necessarily seem to be playing in a number 10 role, does he? Still very advanced, but he's quite wide. It's almost as if Enzo Fernandez is a right central midfielder. You've got Caicedo at the heart of it, as usual, and Shrewsbury Hall on the left. So let's see if it carries on panning out like that, as we see Brentford go back to their goalkeeper. 11 minutes on the clock, still 0-0 between these two sides. Ball towards the left-hand side. Good first touch by Keane Lewis Potter. Brentford haven't beaten Chelsea at home since 1938. Of course, an incredibly long time ago. That's seen them draw 3 times to them and lose 4 times to them as well. So they'll be hoping to break that negative record, you could say, for the Bees. As we now see Vandenberg in possession, looking for potential options. Plays a 1-2 with Norgard. It's going to come back to him down the left-hand side once more with Lewis Potter. Chelsea just standing off at the moment, allowing Brentford to have these touches of the ball, because they're not really threatening with it. And Nkunku with almost a half-hearted press here. He's almost just jogging towards the goalkeeper, who just plays it over the Frenchman's head and out to his centre-half partners. Did you see Brentford trying to involve themselves in and grow into this game a little bit? Yeah,
they're getting more and more of the possession now. Brentford, I can't really say they're getting joy, because they're not really getting any territory at the moment, but at least they're getting more touches. Well, that's sloppy, and this could be an opportunity here for the visitors.
Here's Sancho into the penalty area on the left-hand side, cuts inside, goes for goal, takes a deflection, and Madueke had already made it a far back post run, as we see, maybe seeing a couple of goals going in the Premier League. We will await confirmation before we bring you those goals, as we now just see Brentford in possession, but a decent opportunity there for Sancho. Ball in behind, well defended by Malo Gusto, where the league leaders, who look destined for a Premier League trophy, McAllister has put them 1-0 up away at Fulham. So a great start in that one from Liverpool, as we see Chelsea under a little bit of pressure now from Brentford, trying to squeeze them in, but they've got the confidence with the ball at feet, do all these Chelsea players, and they're playing out from it. Tottenham have taken an unsurprised lead really at home to Southampton, 1-0 in that one. So of the 2 o'clock kickoffs, we are the only game without a goal at the moment. Brennan Johnson grabbing that goal for Spurs. So now just see Brentford down this left-hand side once more. Lewis Potter cuts inside, he's bundled down by Madueke, and that's going to be a clear free kick that you can't really have too many complaints about. But for what was a really quick opening 3 minutes, the 10 minutes after that just slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, the tempo's really slow at the moment. The game's been marred in the middle of the midfield. Neither side able to really take this game by the scruff of the neck and show their dominance. I think this is going to be a really tight encounter, and it's going to be separated either by one moment of quality or by an individual error, because at the moment both sides are just cancelling each other out.
Yeah, they certainly are for the time being, as you see Mbuemo over this free kick. Let's see what he can potentially conjure up for Brentford here as he whips it in towards the middle of the penalty area. It's a great delivery, and Chelsea man gets there in Caicedo, clears it out for a corner, but that was an inviting delivery from Mbuemo into the perfect area. I think it was Visser, who was ready to just maybe tap home, great defending from Caicedo.
Yeah, really good defending there by Caicedo, tracking back, sticking with his man, and knew exactly where he needed to be. Got that vital clearance to it to stop the effort coming in by a Bees man. But now they've got a corner kick to defend, and you'd probably say Brentford are the taller of the two sides.
Yeah, they certainly are. You think Adarabioyo is the only dominant player in that Chelsea penalty area with real height presence, but we've got a few of them for Brentford, don't we? It seems like the likes of Van den Berg, Collins, and you've got Ayer in there as well. Norgard likes to get in and win a few headers also. So you just see the referee pause a couple of things because Reece James and Ayer are battling with each other. It may have been Nathan Collins as they go back on right next to the goalkeeper. Reece James is absolutely wrestling him again. The ball's whipped in towards the back post, not well dealt with initially, then Chelsea can clear their lines, but Reece James, from the view we were just seeing there, is running a risky game. Mistake at the back from Brentford though, and now Sancho can come down the left hand side. Has he run out of play? He has, and it's going to go for a Brentford throw. But when that corner kick was taken in the end, it still looked like Reece James had an absolute hold of Nathan Collins. He was almost wrestling him.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't sort of picked out by Michael Oliver, because he called them both over to tell them to, well, essentially stop doing that. Yeah. And then they continued. I think it's because Collins stays on his feet. That's why nothing more is given. But I think Reece James can count himself very, very fortunate.
Yeah, he certainly can. Approaching the 16th minute of this one. No real big chances as of the moment. A couple of half chances. Good pressing from Dewsbury Hall there, who I think takes a little bit of a whack for his causes, as we've just seen images of Nathan Collins, of course, unofficial off-tube studio commentary pictures as well that we're receiving. Dewsbury Hall seems to be okay to continue. He's still limping around a little bit. I think Nathan Collins a bit aggrieved that he wasn't maybe awarded a penalty, because Reece James was almost given the warning, did it again, gets away with it completely, but we've not seen a full replay of it as of the moment, as we see good tracking back from Enzo Fernandez, wins the ball in the end as Malo Gusto picks it up on the right hand side, gives it back. It's a poor pass back in the end, and now Visser can give it out towards the right hand side. Not the right idea, too floated the ball in the end, and Dewsbury Hall calmly just knocks it over the head of Mbeumo. Ricochets back towards Adarabioyo. Now it's going to be with Rob Sanchez. Just really scrappy at the moment this game. We're not seeing a lot of quality on the show. I think we was almost expecting that, in a sense of Chelsea have made a lot of changes. Could take a while. Chalobah looks over the top, and that pass just almost sums it up at the moment. It goes over the top, over everyone, and in towards the goalkeeper. Yeah,
it's been really, really poor so far from both sides. They're struggling to make their passes stick. It's just been a lack of idea of how to attack the opposition defence at the moment, and you just really struggle to see where this first major opening is going to come from, because of all the chances that we've had so far. You can't really see any of them have been like gilt-edged or really quite obviously brilliantly goal-scoring opportunities. Yes, that they've had efforts from in and around the 6-yard box, but they've been awkward to actually get the shot away and actually get on target. I would not be surprised if it's still 0-0 come the 85th minute, unless we see some major changes, be it in the form of personnel or something formational. They'll probably continue to snub each other out for the remainder of this first half, but at the moment neither side can get that dominance.
Yeah, they certainly can't. It seems like it's pretty similar systems at this point that both sides are playing as well. As you see the ball in behind, it's well won back by Gusto. His pass in the end can't find anyone as it goes down the line. 18 minutes on the clock in this one. Chelsea looking for their first league double over Brentford since the 1946-47 season. So it's an opportunity for Chelsea to be had in this one. But like we mentioned earlier on, Enzo Maresca made it very clear that they've got one eye on that game against Legia Warsaw away from home coming up. Hence why the likes of Nicholas Jackson, Cucurella, Colwill and Cole Palmer mainly aren't starting in this game. Of course, Cole Palmer and Jackson have had their injury problems over the last few weeks to a month anyway, so with it being a quick turnaround, played midweek in a very high intensity game against Tottenham. I'm not sure if you'd seen it, Will, but it certainly was one of those games that Chelsea and Tottenham always seems to deliver with the feistiness in it, so maybe that's a part of their thinking as well of changes.
Yeah, very, very, very possibly. I mean, there's still some big games for Chelsea coming up. Of course, you've got the Conference League where they are overwhelming favourites to go on to win that. And of course, lifting that trophy would see them qualify for the Europa League, which is it's still very much in their grasp. I mean, going into this fixture, they're currently in 4th place. That could change if they fail to win today and City win the Manchester Derby later on this afternoon. It's going to be a very feisty battle for those European spots, so maybe the Conference League is the best option. There's an opportunity here for Sharda.
Sharda lays it off to the edge of the box, and a strike from Johan Visser is well blocked in the end by Adaraboya, and in the end goes straight to the hands of Rob Sanchez. But it's a nice tackle. It's Route 1 stuff, really. Ball in behind. Trevor Chalobah caught out by the pace of Kevin Sharda. Cut inside. You wondered whether he was going to hit it himself. I mean, it's not the greatest of passes to Johan Visser. I think he wanted to be able to run onto it a little bit more. It's a little bit overhit. A little bit too powerful from Sharda, but it just shows we know that Brentford, they've got that pace in attack. They can do those over the top balls because Chelsea will also play a high line and they're going to get caught out.
Yeah, they can be got at this Chelsea side. They're not that so defensively sound at times this season. They've conceded 37 goals this campaign, which is probably one of the better ones, but there's still more goals than actually Crystal Palace have conceded, only one fewer than Everton, who have been sort of flirting with relegation at times this campaign. So they can be got at, this Chelsea back line, but you're not going to create a host of opportunities. It's a case of if you get anything clear-cut, you've got to take them. And maybe Charlotte should just be going for goal earlier there rather than trying to lay it off.
Yeah, I thought he would have potentially gone for goal, the German there. As you see, the ball's just not ricocheting for Chelsea over this last 5 minutes or so. They had a decent spell where they was in control of this game, but Brentford have certainly taken control of it for the time being. A lovely switch ball again towards the right hand side. It's an early cross that's going to be easily dealt with by Reece James, who almost fainted going to his goalkeeper, and in the end just turned away from Mbeumo. Lovely play in the middle of the park. Now it's going to be Enzo Fernandez towards the right hand side for Madueke. He's going to have an opportunity for a run at Luis Potter here. He's going to drive at him, couple step overs onto his stronger left foot, into Fernandez, in behind again for Madueke. That's looked like a potential handball from him, not given in the end. I mean, maybe it's just the angle of it. It looked like he put his arm out to control the ball. Now we see Reece James in possession, out towards the left hand side again. Sancho, once more, into Reece James. Now it's going to be Caicedo in possession. Big goal at Craven Cottage. Fulham have levelled things up at home to the league leaders Liverpool. Ryan Sessegnon grabbing that goal. He's grabbing a couple as of late. Is Sessegnon, of course, started things off with Fulham, was outstanding in the Championship, made the move to Spurs, never really worked for him, came back, starting to play a little bit more now. He's playing on the wing as well, it seems also, as we see now Enzo Fernandez down this right hand side with an opportunity to be had once again. Fernandez into Nkunku, who's struggling to really get involved in this game. It's Sancho having a drive down the left hand side. He finds Dewsbury Hall, plays it off. Norgard, does Flecken prevent the corner? I'm not sure he does. Yes, he does in the end. Everyone just stopped thinking it was going to be a corner. It's not being given in the end. And with that, 22.5 minutes on the clock. We've hit the halfway stage of this first half, and it'll be Will to take you through to half time.
Thank you very much, Kieran. Already there's an opportunity here for Nkunku, who tries to get it out of his feet. Doesn't really get the required contact and control. It's dealt with in the end by Christopher Ayer, but still the opportunity here for Chelsea as Enzo Fernandez has to restart things from the back. He goes laterally towards Tosan Adarabioyo. Now with Reece James towards Keenan Dewsbury Hall. And Nkunku plays a few 1-2s with the former Leicester City man. Eventually will look to get it out of his feet and will find Caicedo. Now support with Tosan, finding Malagusto. And Gusto looks to turn away and spread it towards the right hand side now for Noni Madueke. Gusto driving towards the edge of the area. Important tackle by Norgard. Forcing Lewis Potter. He's won the free kick and the attack breaks down. And it will be a chance for Brentford to clear their lines. But again, maybe Chelsea, they're getting plenty of the ball in and around the area. But when they get into that final third, they sort of lack an idea.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. It's lost of ideas, really. There's not a lot of movement from the attacking players that aren't in possession when they're on the attack. And Nkunku, like I said, he's really struggling to get involved in this one. Madueke's just, I mean, when he picks up the ball, he's just a little bit slow moving with it. He's got the attributes and tools to really get at a man, really take them on, really create, and it's just almost like he's not fulfilling his potential with doing so at the moment, which Maresca, I know, has called him out a couple of times this season already for his performances, not just on the pitch on match day, but in training as well. As we see some better pressure from Nkunku, but in the end it leads to a foul. As we see Collins looks to take it quickly, kicks it off Nkunku. I was worried that Collins was about to potentially lose his head there. He moved into Nkunku a little bit aggressively in that sense, but just a free kick.
So opportunity now for Brentford with Ayer. Now with Collins about just inside his own half on the edge of the centre circle. Not really given much in the way of movement ahead of him. Moves out towards the right hand side. The ball down the line is poor. Won't find Brian Mbomo. Falls to Caicedo. He loses out. Really well defended there by Damsgaard. And now an opportunity here for Brentford to come forward. Here's Gameliuk. He tries to get a ball in. I think there's a man down in Sharda on the edge of the area. And I think the referee has spotted something. There's going to be a yellow card shown by Michael Oliver, and it will be a free kick on the edge of the area.
Yeah, a good opportunity, a really good shooting chance actually for Brentford. It's going to be a yellow card for Malo Gusto. It was so off the ball that I'm not sure there was any chance of any of us seeing what had happened. We're seeing the replay now. I mean, what is Gusto doing? The ball is nowhere near that area. It's the complete other side. Gusto sees Sharda, gets in behind him, and he just completely drags him down. I mean, it's quite ridiculous from the Frenchman there, who of course is now on that tightrope of a yellow card. They do have Cucurella on the bench as well, which means the fact that Gusto's on a yellow, we probably will see the Spaniard at some point. This is a really good free kick opportunity. I mean, I wouldn't say some can be too close, can't they? I think this could be just perfect for the right take it. There's no surprise it's got a Mbuemo stood over it. Let's see how it ends.
Counting 5, 6 players in the wall maybe for Chelsea. It's a tall wall as well. And there's going to be Brian Mbumo as the favourite to take this. Damsgaard's also there as well. Damsgaard, of course, can score free kicks. Famously scored one for Denmark in the Euro 2020 semi-finals against England. So he could fancy his chances. Granted, that was from further out. Damsgaard does go for it. It's up and over the wall, but too much power goes over.
Yeah, not a great free kick in the end from Damsgaard. I think for that technique, he almost just side boots it into maybe looking for, I'm not sure if he was looking for that almost dip contact with it, and I think that for that technique it's a little bit too close was the free kick, so I'm not sure that was ever really going to test Rob Sanchez. I think it was one that maybe needed a little bit more whip and power as Chelsea back in possession. Sanchez with a terrible ball at the pitch.
And it'll fall to Mbumo. Big opportunity here. It's Brian Mbumo tries to get around Sanchez. Big save by the former Brighton man. By far and beyond the clearest opportunity that we have had in this contest. It was actually Damsgaard, that got the shot away. It was a really cute pass in by Johan Visser, lifting it through the gap. Falls to Damsgaard, and he actually just stumbles over the ball. It's not even a save. It's just a real miss hit from Mikel Damsgaard.
Yeah, he completely misses the ball. He goes for goal, and when he actually shoots, he's almost still on balance. I'm not sure what has happened there. You'd think that's almost, you'd never see that from a professional in that sense, and a good player in Damsgaard. Poor from Nkunku again up top as he just loses possession once more. He's not had a great start to this one. They're almost expecting him to maybe move on in the summer, aren't they, with Nkunku? It's not necessarily been a move that has worked for him so far.
No, he hasn't been able to nail down that starting spot, and he hasn't had the happiest of occasions when he has been leading the line. There's an opportunity now for Chelsea to come forward. There's a collision off the ball between Norgard and Nkunku as James continues to try and drive. Really important tackle there by Christopher Ayer, who's under a bit of pressure. Ayer then plays it down the line that goes off of Dewsbury Hall, and that'll be a throw-in for Brentford on the far right-hand side. You're listening to unofficial off-tube studio commentary 28 minutes into this game. It's London derby, and it remains goalless between Brentford and Chelsea. It was a lovely run down that left-hand side by Reece James, but wasn't really given much in the way of support. Granted, that is partly due to that collision off the ball with Nkunku and Norgard as the ball goes towards Mark Flecken under pressure from Noni Madueke. Looks to put the ball away. Tosan Adarabioyo's clearance almost fell kindly to Nkunku, picked up by Damsgaard. He squirms it out towards the run of Keane Lewis Potter. As Yarmeliuk ahead of him. Here is Yarmeliuk. Needs a little bit of support. The through ball will find Johan Visser inside the area. Tries to poke through the gap. Falls to Damsgaard, who gets away from one, turns away. Will he get a shot away? Does it. Cannons into Johan Visser. And then Norgard loses out. And there could be a counter-attack opportunity here for Chelsea. Here's Enzo Fernandez. As Madueke to his right tries to thread it in. Wonderful tackle by Christian Norgard, and the attack breaks down. Now Brentford will look to go on the attack. Suddenly end-to-end stuff. Here's Kevin Schade. 1-2 with Damsgaard. Lays it off towards Keane Lewis Potter. Acres of space for him to run into. Tries to deliver across. That's blocked by Malagusto. Falls to Lewis Potter again. Needs some support. Turns back. Finds Damsgaard. Back towards Lewis Potter. Damsgaard, he's onside. Oh, is he? No, the flag goes up. I thought that was he was clearly onside there, but eventually the flag does go up, and I don't think they ever really believed they wanted to attack it from that counter.
Yeah, that was just a really weird almost minute and a half, wasn't it? Enzo Fernandez had such a simple pass out to Madueke, but for some reason took an absolute age to do so, and that's not really like Enzo Fernandez, usually one of the sharper players on the pitch for Chelsea, and then he got dispossessed, and he thought Schade had a great opportunity to just run at his man, and he just moved the other way, slowed it down completely, which allowed Chelsea players to get back. Still 0-0 between these two sides, and neither side really look like they've got a hunger to score at the moment.
No, it's really, really poor from an attacking point of view so far in this contest. That long clearance by IM might fall kindly to Mbumo. Sanchez watches it all the way, and then he drops it almost onto the toe of the Cameroon international. Brian Mbumo, rather fortunately, manages to regather. I mean, the ball it falls kindly to Sanchez, and he just is a little bit too lackadaisical with it. It so almost falls back to Mbumo.
Yeah, you know when goalkeepers get criticised and then they try to look too confident, as if they're not feeling the pressure, and then they almost make a big blunder. That was almost the definition of that happening from Rob Sanchez, who, yes, has come under quite a lot of criticism this season, but, I mean, has got the backing from Maresca.
Here's Mbumo, opportunity inside the area, cuts it on his left boot, gets a shot away, always a matter of inches away from that left-hand corner. It was a really good effort there by Brian Mbumo, managed to get it onto his left boot, and his flashed effort just wide of the left-hand post.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity there for Mbumo. Once again, it's one of those long balls. He beats Reece James absolutely brilliantly. He's a fullback, Reece James, that if you're in a one-on-one duel with him, it's very hard to just beat him for pure skill and pace, and he did that, was cut inside on his strong left foot, tried to catch the goalkeeper out by going to the near post, in the end misses the target. Big moment at Craven Cottage, despite being 1-0 down, Fulham have turned it round and are now 2-1 up against Liverpool. Alex Iwobi with a deflected strike in that one.
Yes, a big moment. Can't really say it's a big moment in the shape of a title race, because the title race is hardly one that is likely to change, with Liverpool at 11 points clear at the top of the table, and with Arsenal dropping points against Everton in the early kickoff on Saturday. Should Liverpool lose this game, it would at least get 1 point on them, but it's highly unlikely they'd be able to garner the other 10 points required, or 4 victories, and Liverpool to lose 4 games in order to get back into it. It's going to be highly unlikely. If anything, it's going to mean it's even more likely that Liverpool could win the league facing Arsenal at home at Anfield in their third to last game of the season, which is an opportunity now for Chelsea to restart things from the back. Half minutes gone in this contest, remains goalless. You're listening to unofficial off-tube studio commentary. It looks like Tottenham have just doubled their advantage at home to Southampton as well. Looks like Lucas Bergvall has got on the score sheet there. Southampton still on 10 points, still on course for being having the lowest points tally of any side in Premier League history. Currently being held in the 07-08 season by Derby County on 11 points. Here is opportunity now for James to go back towards Tosano Darabioyo. Good turn, finding Malagusto. He'll turn it back towards Sanchez. Chelsea, I don't think have been brilliant over the course of this campaign, but they find themselves in fourth. Do you think they'll be able to hold on to a Champions League spot?
Yeah, it's interesting because you've got so many teams who are looking good and so many teams challenging around that area. It's not just necessarily fourth position. You don't really know who's getting 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, so it's just one of those at the moment. But Chelsea, as Madueke hits a strike, it does hit the target. It's an easy save from Flecken. I believe Chelsea's might be their first shot on target in this one. But yeah, it all just comes down to, I mean, how far Chelsea are to go in the Conference League. They've got to pick up a little bit of momentum at this back end of the season. And it's games like these where if you want top four, you'll find a way. If you don't find a way, other teams will. You've got the likes of Aston Villa who are starting to look really good at the moment. Again, yes, they're still in the Champions League, so you can use that same excuse, but it's certainly an interesting end to the season. Brentford in the area.
That's it. Big opportunity, tries to get across into the box, is turned away by a mixture of three Chelsea players, eventually pokes away by Tosan Odari Biorio. It will remain in Brentford possession. Here is Collins, move over towards the right hand side now in Norgard, down the line from Mbumo, finding Damsgaard. Damsgaard will give it back towards Mbumo. Brentford comfortably in possession at the moment, moving it from side to side, but no real cutting edge to their play. As that's a bit of a sloppy pass by Collins, it almost fell kindly to Noni Madueke. Collins does well to recover. Brentford will try and clear their lines with a high press from Chelsea, asking questions here of the Bees. There's Norgard that pulls away. He's been pulled back there surely by Dewsbury Hall, but advantage to be played by Michael Oliver. Coming forward is Christopher Ayer. Down the line for Mbumo, support in the box. Vital tackle by Reece James. He gets a toe to it. I thought he won the ball there to send it out for a corner kick, and I think that's exactly what the decision has gone for Brentford.
Yeah, it looked like the linesman gave a free kick then. I'm not too sure if eyes were just deceiving me, but then the referee instantly pointed for a corner, so it's going to be a corner for Brentford rather than a free kick. And Mbeumo out to take it, and Reece James, vital from them again.
It is very vital. Confirm that second goal for Tottenham is still being checked by VAR, as there might be a third goal for Fulham at home to Liverpool. They are running riot at Craven Cottage. As there's an opportunity now from this corner kick. We're still waiting for it to be delivered into the area. It looks like might have been a Rodrigo Muniz that have got that goal for Fulham. And that second goal still being checked by VAR for Tottenham, and that was about four minutes ago now. Very lengthy check as there's plenty of pushing and shoving inside the areas. The header comes in, really good save by Sanchez. I think it was Keane Lewis Potter maybe that had the header on target. Really well kept out though by Robert Sanchez. As the ball works its way back towards Damsgaard, he'll have to go all the way back towards Flecken, and the attacker breaks down. But Brentford, I think over the last 10 minutes or so, have been the better side.
Yeah, they certainly have. They look more dangerous from just in play, attacking wise, and from set pieces as well. Once again, I believe Collins was involved. He was bundled to the ground. I'm not sure what Chelsea player it was, but they're running real risks to Chelsea so far. I don't think Chelsea have had an attacking set piece for them in this one since maybe that opening 20 seconds from that free kick, which caused the most dangerous moment for Chelsea in this one. 36 minutes later, I wouldn't say Brentford have felt threatened in this.
No, they've not really been placed under the cosh over the course of this contest, as Malagusto has possession. He moves it towards the right-hand side. Here's Madueke going back for support in Caicedo. And with Tosan, lovely through ball towards Dewsbury Hall. This could be an opportunity here. Dewsbury Hall finds Sancho. Could this be the opening goal? Sancho tries to put it in. It takes a big deflection. It completely wrong for Flecken. Unfortunately for him and for Brentford, the touch off of Nathan Collins goes wide.
Yeah, and I thought it was in then as well. I thought Collins has put that into his own net. It's a lovely breakaway. Sancho's got so much space. In the end, it's really good defending. We've just seen a replay of that Brentford chance at the other end as well. It's a great header from Lewis Potter down into the ground. It was Reece James on Collins again. He's just absolutely wiped him out in the penalty area. I mean, it's absolutely mental that you can almost get away with that a couple times already in this one. First corner for Chelsea.
First corner for Chelsea. Can confirm that second goal for Tottenham has been ruled out for offside finally. I think that took about 5-6 minutes, that check, so it will be a lengthy added time in the end of the first half there at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The corner kick is floated in. I think there is a foul in the build-up, which means the corner kick will not amount to anything for the Blues. A chance for the Bees to clear their lines with a free kick. Still remains Brentford 0, Chelsea 0. You're listening to unofficial off-tube studio commentary. 38.5 minutes gone in this contest. Mark Flecken, that takes this goal kick, or this free kick I should say. Flecken's long ball looks for Mbumo, will find the Cameroonian who goes down. He'll win a free kick as well. No, it's going to be an offside actually on Mbumo. Thought he'd won the free kick after a push from Reece James, who's, well, I think he's counted himself very fortunate that he's not had more talks in his ear from the referee in this game.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, it's all from set pieces, and you'd think you'd just maybe learn your lesson. You'd maybe just get your hands off him for the moment. But I guess you can almost find a way to credit Brentford in that sense that that's how dangerous they are. You've got someone so composed like Reece James scrambling around, trying to do everything he can to gain an advantage on his opponent, and Kunku bundled to the ground once again. Nothing to be given. He's really struggled in this one, hasn't he? And I guess for a strike, when a striker struggles to get involved, it's not always their fault, is it? No. It's for your teammates behind you to get you involved, but to find it. But every time I've seen Chelsea in possession behind Nkunku, he always seems static. Every time I look at him, he's not making necessarily a clever run for his teammates. I'll break off Brentford on the attack.
And Bumo going for an audacious outside the boot pass, which doesn't pay off. It'll be turned away from danger by the back line. I think it was Caicedo in the end that made the clearance, and we picked up on the opposite end, and now an opportunity now for Chalobah to bring this ball away from danger. His pass will find support in Madueke. Rolled out for Caicedo. Chance for Chelsea to bring the ball further forward. Falls to Dewsbury Hall. Heavy touch, goes back. 5 minutes remain of this first half. I doubt we're going to get too much in the way of added time at the end of this first 45. As Enzo Fernandez turns away from Shada. In for Nkunku. That's better. Falls to Madueke. Really important tackle there by Collins. There's a heavy collision between the two as well. I think the Brentford man has come off worse for wear. He's clutching his right knee. He's brave defending. He has won the free kick for his troubles. I don't think Madueke is going to pick up a yellow card, though.
No, I don't think he will do. It's one of them where Madueke, he's got to try and go for this ball. Maybe just clips Collins in the end, so it is a free kick, but it's nothing that Madueke shouldn't be doing. He has to try and keep the attack alive, and in the end, just overstretches a little bit. In the end, of course, going to be a free kick. Yeah, I think you're spot on in saying that we're probably not going to get any real added time in this one.
I wouldn't be surprised. It looks like Brennan Johnson has just made it 2-0 to Tottenham against Southampton. They're running riot there. Tottenham on the team. That's a heavy touch from Shada. What was a very promising position for Brentford. Spoons off, I think, of his knee in the end, and it will be picked up comfortably by Robert Sanchez. Ball forward by Gusto finds Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. On the left-hand side is Sancho. So looks for some support. Has to just roll it back towards Reece James. Now Caicedo. No real movement off the ball for Chelsea. Very static. They're just playing it from side to side. And there's no cutting edge. Brentford have barely had to break a sweat to defend in this game.
Yeah, they really haven't. And yes, Brentford, we know them as a good defensive side, but they're not on a great run of form either coming into this one. So you almost think that Chelsea should be full of confidence going forwards. Yes, a lot of changes, especially in an attacking sense, makes it a little bit stale at times. I wonder whether we'll see the likes of Cole Palmer quite early on in the second half.
Yeah, I think something has got to change. Cole Palmer would be probably an ideal one for Chelsea to bring on. He can take the game by the scruff of the neck and really begin to impose his dominance on this contest. It is begging out for that person with that star quality to really dictate the tempo of this contest. As Sanchez has possession for Chelsea. About 2.5 minutes remain of the mandatory 45. Hammered away by Keane Lewis-Potter. Falls to Chalobah. That's a poor first touch, though. And that'll be picked up for Brentford on this left-hand side. They'll look to have a throw-in with Lewis-Potter going back and away from Nkunku. Turns into traffic, held up by Madueke. Needs some support. Eventually lays it off towards Jan Meliak, who gets a pass away, and it will go all the way back towards Mark Flecken. Support to his left in Collins. Now Van den Berg to bring this ball further up the field. Damsgaard turns away from his marker. His pass blocked by Madueke. Picked up by Enzo Fernandez. Heavy tackle by Visser, who then manages to win a throw-in for his side. Brave defending there by the forward. Takes a throw-in quickly towards Norgard. Enzo Fernandez came in through the back of the Norwegian there. And the pass will find its way into the path of Visser, who gets it out of his feet and lays it off towards Yarmoliuk. That's a nice ball by the Ukrainian, but he can't find a boom. Another poor touch. And this match from both sides has been error-strewn.
Yeah, it certainly has, and it's also from the players you wouldn't expect it from, like like Embuemo, like Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, it's the key players in this game, the main players on either side that just look like they're not necessarily playing at full ability, which is why we're at a stalemate. We're at 0-0. We've seen no real quality in this one. There's going to be a free kick for Brentford again in an attacking sense. Another yellow card is about to be shown, I believe, to toss in for that challenge down that right hand side for Brentford. So another opportunity for Brentford to load the penalty area.
So yellow card as well to the former Fulham man Tosin Adarabioyo. So an opportunity for Brentford to put the ball into the box. We did get images of off-tube studio pictures that Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson were warming up. Maybe they will be introduced early in the second half. It was a naughty tackle by Tosin on Yarmeliuk. So completely understandable why he's been shown the yellow card for that challenge. I'll wait for this delivery into the area. It'll be Damsgaard, I believe, that will take this as Mbumo in support to his left. 10 seconds remain of the mandatory 45. Ball into the box, turned away quite comfortably by the Chelsea backline. And they've immediately just turned and fired it all the way back towards Mark Flecken, which seemed really unnecessary from that position.
Yeah, completely unnecessary. They didn't need to do that at all. They could have maybe worked another attack down that right hand side. Only 2 minutes of added time. Brentford back on the attack.
So Visser's pass is well blocked by Gusto. Falls to Yarmeliuk. He floats it into the area. He's looking for a man in red and white. Another poor pass, comfortably gathered, and it'll go out of play for a goal kick. 2 minutes of added time shown at the end of this first half, of which we played 30 seconds of it. And well, I think 2 minutes is probably about 3 minutes too many, really, from the amount of quality that we've seen.
Yeah, and this has been really poor between these two sides. A little bit more frustrating when you see there's been 4 goals in one of the other games and 2 goals in the other one as well. But yeah, still 0-0 between these two sides, and I'd be so shocked if we don't see the likes of Nicholas Jackson, maybe Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer quite early in the second half, because yes, Maresca says he's got one eye on that first leg against Legia also. With all due respect to the Polish side, you think Chelsea could put out a decent side and at least have a nice, comfortable result from that first leg. Top 4 is massive for Chelsea as well, so the Premier League is still got to be a really big concern for Maresca to really go for. So I was quite surprised as to how many key players he dropped from that game. Defensively, they've been okay. I think Adarabioyo for Colwill is one that you can get away with it. It's an okay change, but when you take out 3 key attackers, you're going to lose a lot of rhythm.
Yeah, you definitely are going to lose a lot of rhythm, as we've got about 20 seconds remaining of this and on time. We've got a free kick for Chelsea. We might have a little bit more, as there was a bit of a stoppage for a foul by Vandenberg on Enzo Fernandez. We've got this free kick here. Dewsbury Hall standing over it, as is Reece James. It's the latter that takes it. A dangerous ball in. Adarabioyo completely unmarked. Can't get the clear contact. And his glancing header goes comfortably wide of Flecken's right-hand post. Really should have done a bit better there. The Chelsea defender, wonderful delivery in by James. And Tosin just can't do anything with it. But that is the final bit of action we've got in this first half. We're going into the break. Brentford 0, Chelsea 0. And we'll see you in the second half.
Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from them, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Visse, who struggled to hit the target from but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post strike. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Visse, who struggled to hit the target from but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post strike. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Visse, who struggled to hit the target from but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post strike. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Visse, who struggled to hit the target from but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post strike. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Visse, who struggled to hit the target from but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post strike. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Visse, who struggled to hit the target from but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post strike. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Visse, who struggled to hit the target from but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post strike. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Visse, who struggled to hit the target from but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post strike. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Visse, who struggled to hit the target from but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post strike. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Mbeumo and Visse, who struggled to hit the target from but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Mbeumo's edge of the post strike. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Embuemo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from there, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Embuemo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Embuemo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from there, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Embuemo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Embuemo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from there, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Embuemo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Embuemo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from there, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Embuemo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Embuemo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from there, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Embuemo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Embuemo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from there, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Embuemo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Embuemo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from there, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Embuemo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Embuemo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from there, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Embuemo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Embuemo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from there, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Embuemo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality on the show so far. A couple of half chances for Brentford through the likes of Embuemo and Vissa, who struggled to hit the target from there, but it had Rob Sanchez scrambling from Embuemo's edge of the post try. Adarabioyo had an opportunity right before half-time with a header. He puts it wide. We're hoping for a little bit more quality and intensity in the second half. 0-0. Half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, with not a lot of inspiration or quality. And we will leave that just there because we are back underway at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It's still Brentford 0, Chelsea 0. Have had half chances between the two. They've caused more problems from set pieces, and they've certainly won a lot more set pieces, it feels, as well, as Chelsea do have a couple of yellow cards in their defence also. So you just see Brentford looking for a quick start into the penalty area down the right side, and Wemmer cross the face of goal, well defended by Adaraboa, just about clears his line. Sancho is holding it up. Dewsbury Hall is bundled to the ground, and that's almost a silly free kick to give away for Brentford. It was Norgard who just went straight through the back of Dewsbury Hall. There has been a change at half-time to bring you. No real surprise that we've seen Nicholas Jackson brought on for Nkunku. Really struggled, did the Frenchman, in that first half. I'd say I was quite critical of his first half. The movement wasn't good enough when he was in possession. It wasn't necessarily good enough from him either, so he has been hooked at half-time. Still no Cole Palmer to be seen yet in this one. You think maybe with his late injury problems, maybe they just want to leave it a little bit more, see how the impact of Nicholas Jackson can necessarily kick them on. But a substitution that we almost expected. Still myself, Kieran Graham alongside Will Maxwell, and Will, seems like the right change.
Yeah, something had to change. Maybe a little bit surprised that Palmer hasn't also been brought on. We knew it was going to be either one or the other or both. And it is Jackson that is coming onto the play. I think that is going to benefit Chelsea. He has a lot of energy to his game. He's a more out-and-out striker than Nkunku, who can sort of play anywhere around those front four positions of the wings, the central striker, and a centre forward. But I think something had to change from Chelsea's point of view. They just weren't good enough going forward.
Yeah, they certainly won't. Brentford with the ball in towards the back post of it. Everyone goes towards the opposite side of the pitch. Sancho keeps it in play, gives it back to Reece James, under pressure once again from Brentford, clears it down the line. Nicholas Jackson is wrestling, looking to get down the left-hand side. His first real altercation with Nathan Collins. Well, Collins is the man that leaves it as the winner as he wins the free kick. He's been involved in quite a lot of tussles so far, has the Irishman, with Chelsea players, mainly Reece James from corners.
Yeah, there's been a really intriguing battle there from set pieces between Collins and James, and there's a Stonewall foul by Jackson. He gets too tight, a little bit of a shove. It was always going to be a free kick for Brentford. And it's not exactly a promising position. It's by the byline. They're going to have to sort of do a floated diagonal into the area, but they could still do something from it.
Yeah, so you just see the ball whipped in. Not a great delivery from Damsgaard, handed away with ease. Lewis Potter in towards the middle. Now they go back just beyond their own halfway line as we see Brentford with a deep cross towards that back post. Dewsbury Hall wins his header. He heads it to probably the worst place he possibly could have, to Brian Mbeumo. Lays it off, ball whipped in. It's a decent one, well headed away by Adaraboa this time. And Brentford have started this half quite quick, but we see Nicholas Jackson's first real touches to have a run. It was a decent bit of play from him. His pass isn't good though, and here come Brentford down the left-hand side. Lovely play from Lewis Potter to get the better of Enzo Fernandez, driving in towards the penalty area, having a run at Gusto. Great defending though from the Frenchman. I think Lewis Potter just wanted Gusto to dive in, lunging to make a tackle. He wasn't doing so, and he waited for it, and he put in a great challenge. Ball in behind, looking for Jackson, who's in towards the penalty area with an opportunity across the face there. Goal, just doesn't get the connection on it. In the end, Nicholas Jackson, it's a good opportunity, tight angle, route one stuff with the pass in behind. It's a great ball. I think it was Enzo Fernandez, perfectly weighted for Nicholas Jackson, who I think unfortunately just the angle is a little bit too tight for him.
Yeah, it is a little bit too tight. It's a really good run though by Jackson. Breaks into the area, got plenty of pace, sets himself up nicely, tries to cut it across Mark Flaker, but in doing so puts way too much on it, and it's a good 3-4 yards wide of that right hand post. Not the greatest of finishes, but it's a lot better from an attacking point of view from Chelsea.
Yeah, it certainly is, as we now see a goal kick for Brentford, but a first real, probably the biggest opportunity for Chelsea in this one there via Nicholas Jackson. But already, I think that run from Nicholas Jackson is perfect. It's what those Chelsea midfielders want, because they can pick out deep passes like that in behind, and Nicholas Jackson has the pace to do so. Christopher Nkunku wasn't making those runs. He was almost just standing still, waiting for the ball to come to feet, whereas you've got to be a little bit more proactive, especially when you're at the level of Chelsea, who are trying different things and creating so many chances, usually week in, week out, as we now see Christopher Ayer over the throw-in. 5 minutes into the second half, 50 minutes on the clock, still 0-0 between these two. Madueke with a really poor first touch, and once again it just ricochets out towards the left-hand side. It's not been his game either, Madueke, so far. Shada driving forwards, puts in a decent, well, it looked decent delivery on first viewing, but in the end, just a little bit overhit. It's going to go out for a goal kick. Johan Visser a little bit frustrated with that delivery, but once again, it just comes from a little bit of lazy play from a Chelsea player once more.
Yeah, it has been lazy at times from Chelsea with how they've been progressing the ball. They haven't really been fully with it with their passing play over the course of this game, but they're just not being. The areas that they're creating, they're not being capitalised on by Brentford. They have not been good enough going forward either, and you really struggle to see where this opening goal is going to come from.
Yeah, you certainly do for the time being. Of course, when substitutions or more substitutions come into play, then we can maybe see the difference. Two behind in this game for either side. Liverpool still trailing 3-1 at Craven Cottage, and Tottenham are still winning 2-0 at home to Southampton. Can't exactly say that that's an unexpected result, despite Tottenham's poor season and poor form as of late. I mean, Southampton, I was pleasantly surprised to see them get a point against Crystal Palace. On the grand scheme of things, it's a great result, but when you're down at the bottom of there, you almost feel like you could beat a team 4-0 and you feel bad for celebrating, because you are 100% getting relegated. As we see Madueke going in towards Enzo Fernandez. Ball to the right hand side again. Nicholas Jackson looks to put it across the face of goal. It's almost an own goal in the end from Van den Berg, who I think tried to put it behind for a corner initially. Put it on target to his own goal. Flecken with the reactions came back to Van den Berg, and he stabs it behind for a corner at the second time of asking. But once again, Nicholas Jackson is the man that gets in behind. He's forcing, not necessarily errors, but he's forcing a problem for Brentford.
Yeah, he's definitely asking a lot more questions of the Bees back line than Nkunku was. He's a bit more agile with his movement. He's trying to get in behind the back line, and he's stretching them. And that ball across the face could have easily found its way towards a Chelsea teammate. It didn't, but with the way that Van den Berg defended it, it still easily ended up in the back of the net.
Yeah, certainly it could have done, but Flecken had to react for the initial save. It's going to be a corner this time though for Chelsea, to be whipped in by Reece James towards the back post, looking for Nicholas Jackson. It's well headed away by Shada initially. It's going to ricochet back into the area. Adebayo with a good challenge in. Jackson does well to get his body across and keep the attack alive. It's Reece James from the right hand side with an opportunity. He hits it. It's well deflected away. Certainly was a shooting opportunity though from distance for Reece James. Shada goes down. The referee Michael Over makes it very clear that Caicedo had won the ball for that one, as we now see the ball in the path of Chalobah, right hand side with Enzo Fernandez into the middle of the park for Gusto, who's inverted himself a little bit. It's going to be Madueke now down the right hand side. Gusto's onside into the penalty area on the right, looking across the face of goal once again for Jackson, and once again it's Van den Berg there to turn it behind for a corner. Chelsea are starting to wake up in this one.
Yeah, they're beginning to turn the screw. I mean, Brentford have been caught out on a number of occasions when the ball was going in behind them. Gusto, nice ball in, looking for Jackson. Van den Berg's got to get there, otherwise Jackson could easily flick it in at the near post. But over the last, the 8 minutes that we've had in this second half so far, Chelsea look the better side.
Yeah, they certainly do. For the time being, 54 minutes on the clock, corner to be whipped in. The header won by Trevor Chalobah in the end. He puts it wide. It's half chance for the centre half. It certainly wasn't a free header. He just out-jumped his man. Wanted it a little bit more than, I believe it was Keane Lewis Potter marking him, which is a bit of a mismatch between the two. He actually wasn't looking at all, was he, Lewis Potter? He was more focused looking the other way. Wrestling once again Trevor Chalobah, but he did get up, won the header, unfortunately couldn't find the target.
No, couldn't get on the end of it that time around. It was a good leap by Chalobah. Got the power, just not the required accuracy. But this needs to be a bit of a wake-up call, really, for Brentford, because they have not been good defensively over the last 5 minutes or so. And, well, there's going to be a real cause for concern for Thomas Frank if they don't get a foothold in this game.
Yeah, and you almost think that the longer this game goes on at 0-0 and Chelsea dominating, it's only going to get harder for Brentford, because they'll probably introduce the likes of Pedro Neto and Cole Palmer as well in this one. Johan Visser with a late challenge on toss, and he was just not too happy with that one. As we're seeing it back once again, it is a little bit of a naughty one from Visser, but he's just trying to get his body across to block the initial clearance from the centre half. Catches his man. Free kick, right decision, not necessarily enough worthy of a yellow card, as we now just see Rob Sanchez in possession. He's going to look long in behind. Chelsea have only won one of their last 9 away games in all competitions, which for a team of Chelsea's standard. It's quite an abysmal away record they're on at the moment, and we can maybe see why in this game. The lack of creating chances has certainly been a problem so far in this one. Malo Gusto with the ball to the left-hand side, to the right-hand side, almost intercepted by Lewis Potter. He did get a toe on it and put it out for a throw-in. Gusto now into Nicholas Jackson. It's going to go back towards Trevor Chalobah. Caicedo in possession to Dewsbury Hall, another one who's come in today and has struggled to really get involved in it and get a grip of this game. Good challenge in there from Gusto. Caicedo spreads it towards the right-hand side once more. It's Madueke. His first touch was a heavy one, but it wasn't a great pass out to him initially. He's going to take it on his left foot. Looks for a ball in behind for Dewsbury Hall. It's well headed away by Nathan Collins. And here come Brentford. Possession is becoming slightly end-to-end is this game without any real chances being created. Sancho's been...
They need to sort of compose themselves. Their passing hasn't been good enough. They've been rushed into decisions, but they're now beginning to make a little bit of headway going forward with Damsgaard, although he's held up by Caicedo on the edge. Yeah, and a great challenge from Caicedo in the end. Just see the Chelsea fans at the top right of our pictures in that away and giving their applause to the Ecuadorian midfielder. He's probably been one of the most consistent players for Chelsea this season. He's having a fantastic season as well. Of course, after his initial arrival, there was eyebrows raised because of his impact for the amount of money that they had spent on him, but I don't think there's any doubt that he's one of the best midfielders in the league. Oh yeah, there's no doubt whatsoever. I think there was maybe a little bit of questions when he first moved to Chelsea. He was maybe a little bit slow to the pace. He was liable for an error and particularly a card, yellow or a red. But he's begun to snuff that out of his game, and he is looking more and more important in this Chelsea setup as weeks and months and seasons go by. He's played brilliantly so far over the course of this campaign. Yeah, and that's a great challenge in there from Trevor Chalobah this time. Once again, just getting back from forward ball, and that double change that we were expecting at some point in this game is about to be made for Chelsea. Noni Madueke is about to make way for Pedro Neto, and Cole Palmer is stood next to Neto, and he's going to come on for Dewsbury Hall. So you almost look at that Chelsea attack now after the 3 substitutions. It's looking a lot more familiar. Yeah, a lot more familiar, and this is probably going to be bad news for Brentford. So their big boys are on. They're going to have to be risked, and well, no, they'll probably play in midweek as well in Europe, and they'll probably want to get a little bit of form underneath their belts. It's going to be a tall order to keep Cole Palmer quiet, because I think he'll be doing everything possible to try and give Chelsea the lead here. Yeah, it certainly will be. Throw-in taken, whipped into the area. Nicholas Jackson gets his head on it. In the end, it's being given for a free kick, I believe, for a push from Vandenberg on Nicholas Jackson. So you just now see pictures of Thomas Frank watching on. I won't say he'll be too pleased with the performance from Brentford, but of course they are against a side in the top 4, so that has to, of course, be taken into consideration. That they're still drawing this game 0-0. Have maybe had the better chances as well, as we now see Aya in possession. Another poor clearance it was from Rob Sanchez. Sancho in towards Moises Caicedo, just turns away from his man. Confident touches, in the end goes down. I think he almost just tripped. Cole Palmer's first touch of the game isn't a good one. Caicedo then gets the decision from the referee. Maybe a little bit fortunate from that, as the referee sees the free kick being taken by Cole Palmer, then decides actually we're going to cut this one back straight away. And Caicedo, I thought he'd maybe just slipped on the turf. I'm not sure. Is there any contact there? If there is, it's very, very minimal. He's made a little bit of a meal of it. He tries to do too much in a tight area, being tightly marked by a couple of Brentford players. It was quick feet to get away, I believe, from Johan Visser. And Visser sticks out a leg. Whether or not there's contact, I'm not entirely sure, but when you stick out a leg, you give the opponent that option to go down. Yeah, you certainly do, as we see. Ball in behind now. Trevor Chalobah is going to go long down the line. Header won by Madueke in towards Nicholas Jackson. Lovely back heel for Cole Palmer's first real touches driving forwards in this game. He's slightly narrow on the left-hand side. He gives it to Nicholas Jackson. Now it's going to be a strike from the edge of the box from Pedro Neto. His first real impact in this one. Forces a save from Fleck, and looking towards the near top corner. It's a great strike from the Portuguese man.
it's those three Chelsea attacking substitutes all combining with each other. Corner.
Yeah, they're finally beginning to find their feet now, Chelsea. Wonderful effort by Pedro Neto. It's always curling towards Flecken, so it was made a little bit easier on that front, but it's still a save that had to be made. It was great athleticism as well by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Pedro Neto now over the corner for an out-swinging delivery. Trevor Chalobah's got a problem with Lewis Potter at the moment. He's pleading towards the referee. Neto whips the corner in towards the centre of the area. It falls to Gusto on the edge of the box. He hits a volleyed strike first time from the edge of the box, like I mentioned, and no surprises. The fullback has put it miles high and wide.
Yeah, it's one of those where if it falls to you in that sort of position, you're always going to be tempted to go for goal. But it so rarely works out. There, he completely gets his angles wrong. Malagusto gets right underneath it, sends it comfortably over and quite some distance wide as well. But Chelsea still knocking on the door of Brentford. They're looking the likelier side to break the deadlock.
Yeah, it's the type of one where if you're a kid in the playground and it falls to you like that, you're hitting that 10 times out of 10, aren't you? Because it just sets up so nicely, and if it does go in, it would be one of the goals of the season. Gusto's now won a free kick, battling with the Brentford players. They're starting to win a lot more of those duels now at Chelsea in this second half. They were losing a lot of them in the first, but they're starting to win more free kicks. Just get the benefit of the doubt from the referee as well, as Caicedo's just driving straight through the middle of this Brentford side. He finds it on the right hand side with Enzo Fernandez. Now it's going to be Pedro Neto on this right hand side, cuts inside onto his stronger left foot in the area, hits it in the end once again. It's well saved by Mark Fleck, and it's straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. Pedro Neto has just added a little bit of urgency. That is something that we didn't see Madueke do at all.
No, not at all. He's wanting to take on his man, Pedro Neto. He's standing them up. They don't know whether he's going to come inside or out. And in the brief few minutes that he's been on the field, he's asked much more questions of the Brentford defence than Madueke managed to do.
And Pedro Neto, ball across the face of goal. It's a good one. It's an inviting one, and it's well defended by Christopher Ayer, who just stabs it behind his goal for another Chelsea corner. But once again, it's Pedro Neto causing all the problems in the world down this right-hand side in acres of space, whipping in with his weaker right foot, and it so almost finds Jackson at the near post as well. So unlucky for Chelsea there, and that man Pedro Neto, he's going out to take this corner now. He holds his arm up, he's going to whip it in towards the centre once again. The header is won, and it's a big save from Flecken against Reece James, and then Reece James's second delivery in the end is well held on as Flecken tries to get Brentford through. It's well dealt with by Rob Sanchez, almost being the sweeper keeper, but Reece James almost putting Chelsea in the lead, and here come Chelsea once again. Jadon Sancho now in possession. He finds Pedro Neto. He's got Cole Palmer making a run for him. He finds Palmer into the penalty area, opens it up, goes for goal. He looks to place it into that far corner. It's not necessarily been the best last couple of months for Palmer, has it? He's struggling to find the goals. Couldn't find the target there, but Chelsea look like a new team.
They do. Palmer, wonderful movement, drives into the area. His curling effort, not sure if it's the right effort to go for, but it's a wonderful strike that goes just wide. Seeing a replay of that chance from Tosan. Great header, brilliant save by Flecken, who then gets back onto his feet so quickly to gather on the second time of asking. There's a cause of concern here for Brentford as Nathan Collins is down on the deck, and he's going to require a bit of treatment. He might have to be brought off, but Brentford, they are really having to survive this onslaught of Chelsea attacks.
Yeah, they absolutely are at the moment, and Nathan Collins being down isn't necessarily great news because he's been massive for them from these set pieces as such, but yeah, it doesn't look like great news for him, does it? It looks like he might be making way for Vitaly Janelt.
Yeah, Janelt obviously more of a midfielder than a defender, might have to do a job and sort of help out his team by slotting in the central defence should Collins be unable to continue. Seeing another replay of this effort from Cole Palmer, did so well to get away from his marker, and it's just a little bit of a follow through after his effort colliding with Collins. There's no real malice from Cole Palmer, it's more unfortunate than anything. Hopefully Collins is going to be okay to continue, but only at time will tell by the looks of things with the motion that the medical staff of Brentford have made towards Thomas Frank. He is going to be okay, and it's just a little knock. But yes, Vitaly Janelt either way will enter the field of play in the coming minutes.
It certainly seems to be that way. Of course, it's the Manchester derby coming up at 4:30. I will be covering that game. In terms of the big lineup news, of course, as we know, Erling Haaland will miss a majority of the remainder of this season. You see, the likes of Jack Grealish, who got that goal recently, he only has a place on the bench. Nico O'Reilly has a place starting. We covered that game, didn't we, against Bournemouth in the FA Cup, where he completely changed it, and he was outstanding in that game. Well, that's certainly a show of faith from Guardiola, isn't it? Starting him at Old Trafford in certainly what is a massive game, and one that I'm definitely looking forward to. But at the G-Tech Community Stadium, 66 minutes on the clock. Brentford 0, Chelsea 0. As now we look like we're finally ready to get back underway in this, and after a brief delay in play from that injury to Nathan Collins, who seems okay to continue. Chelsea over the last 10 minutes or so certainly turned it up a notch and are creating chances left, right and centre now compared to the first half. Here's Reece James coming forwards down this left hand side, almost stumbles in possession but does well to recover. It's good to see Reece James back playing regular minutes as well. As we know, on his day when he is fully fit, which as of late hasn't been that regular, he's one of the best fullbacks in the league, that is for sure. And I'm sure Thomas Tuchel will want him fully fit as well for his England plans as well. As we now see Gusto in possession in the centre of the park, very inverted Gusto in this one. And it's going to go out to Adarabioyo just beyond the halfway line. It's a strong setup really from Brentford out of possession, but Chelsea just starting to pick it apart. Ball in behind, looking towards Malo Gusto on the edge of the penalty area. Well defended this time from Brentford, didn't allow the Frenchman to take it down, and now here come Brentford on the counter-attack. Poor touch from Kevin Schade, and we're almost seeing what was happening to Chelsea in the attack in the first half. It started to happen to Brentford in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, Brentford have really struggled to get going in this second half. They've been pegged back by Chelsea, who have just been improving with every minute that's ticked by. Brentford have been able to get behind Chelsea on a couple of occasions, but they're just not creating that clear-cut opportunity to test Sanchez, who has basically been a bystander in this second half. He's had very little to do.
Yeah, certainly has. Sancho with the ball to the right-hand side. It's a decent one, and now it's going to be Pedro Neto on the right once more. Has a little run at this Brentford defence, cuts onto his left foot, whips in towards the back post. In the end, it's going to be an easy claim for Mark Flecken, who's going to look to ball it out pretty quickly once again, looking in behind for Mbuemo, who's up there on his own. Reece James has certainly fouled him there. Surely he has done. Not great defending in that sense from the Chelsea captain, but it was good play from Mbuemo because Mark Flecken didn't really give him much chance there, did he? He just booted it long up to him. He's not a strong physical player. He's a figure of a player. Mbuemo, he's still quite small. In that battle up against three Chelsea players, does so well to win a free kick.
Yeah, it's a really tight battle with him between him and Reece James. Does really well to spin him, and then it's a pretty cynical pullback from Reece James, who again has avoided any yellow card, which does surprise me considering the amount of battles he's been involved with Brentford players over the course of this game. It is a free kick, very central, 45 yards out really. It's going to be difficult to generate anything meaningful from this free kick, but at least there's a chance to get Brentford players further up the field because they've been hemmed inside their own half for a while.
Yeah, it certainly is an opportunity to be had for Brentford from this set piece. We see it taken pretty quickly, looking in behind for Johan Visser. In the end, it's well headed away as we now see Reece James in possession, and he completely misses the ball. And now Mbuemo balling towards the back post is a decent one, headed away by Chalobah. Now it's going to be Enzo Fernandez in there to give the flick on. Cole Palmer tries to get involved. Caicedo's clearance isn't a great one, and it's back with Brentford balling behind for Kevin Schade, who is onside. Now it's going to go into that stage of the left for Brentford again. Lewis Potter picks it back up from Vitali Janel. Now it's going to be coming forward once again down this left hand side. Of course, Janel fresh to the pitch after coming on for Yamolio, because there's a ball across the face of goal from Schade. He almost just goes for power rather than just almost gliding it into the path of Johan Visser, which means he completely slices it. It goes miles behind the Brentford striker in the end. What a weird technique. It's almost like he's just directly hitting it across the face of goal rather than just maybe thinking about it a bit more.
I really don't know what he's going for there, Schade. It's a really poor execution of what was a really promising chance, and they've wasted a glorious opportunity with how rarely they've been able to get in behind this Chelsea back line. He's got to be doing so much better from that position.
Yes, certainly does, as we now see it with Reece James, the free kicks. Actually, a lot of free kicks given in this one. James goes back to Adarabioyo. It's going to be Sanchez now in this second half. Brentford haven't even had a shot. Chelsea have had 8. But with that, we've hit the 70th minute stage of this second half, the halfway stage of the second half. It's still 0-0 between these two sides. It'll be Will to take you through to full time.
Thank you very much, Kieran. Here's Chelsea in possession with Nicholas Jackson. Goes back towards Enzo Fernandez. On the right-hand side now is Neto. He'll find Gusto. Chelsea dominant in the possession. Not really finding the way through currently. As James goes back towards Tosan Adara Bioyo. Bit of space here for Chalobah. He goes ahead of him for Enzo Fernandez. Neto facing back towards his own goal, able to find that killer pass through the forward bank of 4 for Brentford. As Chalobah finds Neto, there's a little bit of space here for Malagusto. Will he shape up to go for goal? He finds support. Here's Palmer. Sancho wants it. Palmer will go for goal. It's blocked. Will it fall to a man in blue? It will. Falls to Caicedo. Neto gets a shot away. That's blocked. Falls to Jackson. He can't get a shot away. It'll fall to Lewis Potter. He's up and under. Jackson goes down looking for a penalty. Gathered by Flecken. It doesn't look like a penalty is going to be awarded, though Jackson is still down in the spot of bother. However, Brentford come forward here. Damsgaard through ball looking for Visser. Slightly overhit, but Visser will keep it in play. Needs a bit of support. Here is the Congolese international. Visser back towards Janos. Visser again has support. Visser, it spews off of the hand of Sanchez. Somehow doesn't fall to a Brentford man. There is an offside flag up anyway. The attack breaks down, and somehow it's still 0-0.
Yeah, still 0-0. Rob Sanchez, I think it was a cross that he almost tried to just guide away. Liverpool have pulled one back against Fulham as well. Luis Diaz with that one, but we're just seeing it back now. It's certainly a tight one. Whether Wisser is offside, he just puts it across. Actually, maybe he tries to catch out Rob Sanchez. I think that's a save more than a parry away from the goalkeeper. But this game's getting quite open.
It's getting very open. Both sides now beginning to commit players forward to try and get that elusive opening goal. Here is Schade to come forward here for Brentford. Has the overlap in Lewis Potter. Instead tries to thread it in towards Visser. Not the greatest of balls in there, though, by the Brentford man. As a long ball forward, look for Nicholas Jackson. It's a foot race between him and Flecken. Really calm goalkeeping there by Flecken, just nodding it away from Jackson to find the supporting cast of Collins. Here is Van den Berg, now with Damsgaard, back towards Nathan Collins. Needs a bit of movement ahead of him, which he's not getting currently. Collins finds support in Damsgaard, shapes up to maybe lift it down the line, threads it along the floor towards Ayer. He loses out towards James. Lovely dummy by Fernandez. This is better football here by Chelsea as they break forward down the left-hand side with Cole Palmer. Palmer in towards the penalty box. Puts the ball in. Defended by Van den Berg. Falls to Jadon Sancho. Sancho runs into traffic. Can he hold on to it? Well, he's being sandwiched by a couple of Brentford players. Eventually, it falls to Nathan Collins. And after taking a little bit of time, eventually puts it away. But it's unconvincing as Reece James runs into traffic. That's going to be picked up, though, by Christopher Ayer. His clearance is also unconvincing. Picked up by Caicedo. Fernandez, support on the right-hand side in Pedro Neto. Has Gusto behind him as well. Fernandez twists, turns, goes back towards Caicedo. A little 1-2 between him and Fernandez. Here is the Argentine. Obviously scored the winning goal against Tottenham in midweek and then goes for goal about 30 yards out. Poor effort, way over the crossbar.
Yeah, miles over the bar in the end from Enzo Fernandez, but no one was closing him down, so he's just driving through the middle of the park and he's thinking, well, no one's coming to me, I may as well hit it. It's an opportunity. He's certainly got it in his locker. He's coming off the back of scoring midweek against Tottenham. He's had a few goals already this season, Enzo Fernandez, but this one miles over the bar once again. But Chelsea look like the team. If someone's going to score in this one, it probably will be the visitors, but I guess you never say never, as it looks like Cucurella's getting ready to come on.
Yes, Cucurella is getting ready to enter the field of play. We've got about 16 minutes remaining of the mandatory 90 before we find out how much added time there will be at the end of this contest. Flick on by Visser, looks for Mbumo. Has he been found by Reece James? No, says Michael Oliver. James gets onto his feet, finds Caicedo, skips away from one and then hammers the ball forward towards Cole Palmer. And now an opportunity here for Neto on the right-hand side. Gusto to his left, goes back towards Enzo Fernandez. He lifts it into the box. It's not a bad delivery, gathered by Flecken the second time of asking. Another attack there breaks down. It's Chelsea that's looking the likeliest to score. At the moment, they're not really forcing Flecken into a major save.
No, they're certainly not for the time being, but yeah, we've just seen Flecken now in possession. it's interesting from a Chelsea point of view of, yes, they're certainly creating at the moment. They're on top. Brentford maybe need to sharpen up a little bit as well, because I think they're starting to make it quite easy for Chelsea to create chances.
Yes, it is getting easier for Chelsea to break through this Brentford back line as Flecken launches the ball forward. It's an awkward touchdown by Chalobah that loses out. Now an opportunity here for Brentford to break forward. Charter will try and break forward. He lays off towards Norgard. It's Johan Vissa. It's a poor touch though by Vissa. Gets driven wide. His cross is blocked by Tosin and Darby-Oyo as Vissa kept the ball in play. He has for the time being. No, Michael Oliver decides it has gone out for a goal kick. And what was a fantastic opportunity has gone begging for the Bees.
Yeah, it certainly has. Johan Vissa, once again, he's rolling across his body, but he just can't take that first touch to stop it from going across. He needs that first touch to take it into his path rather than chasing the pass, and in the end it was just quite poor from him. Reece James is about to make way for Cucurella as he gives the captain's armband to Enzo Fernandez, and he's ready to make way in this one once again. In his road back to full fitness, 76 minutes, he's had another decent performance, maybe on another day could have given away a penalty or had a yellow card, but he makes way for Cucurella, who is a little bit more natural on that left-hand side, of course.
Yeah, natural left back on. He should be able to offer a much more going forward than initially James could do. Didn't really have his greatest attacking showing today. The Chelsea captain, who's on his road back to full fitness, really struggled with hamstring injuries this season as Jackson is felled by Nathan Collins. That's going to be a free kick, and it's actually going to be Van den Berg, that's going to be shown a yellow card. Was beaten for pace there by Jackson, had his arms all over him, hauled him down to the floor. I don't think you can have too many complaints about that decision there. Sepp Van den Berg. So chance now for Chelsea with the free kick. They take it short. Caicedo going back towards Chalobah. Neto on the right hand side. Bit of space here to utilise. Drives forward, a few step overs. Looks for support, will go for goal. Blocks by a Brentford man. Flicks high to the air by Damsgaard. Will fall to Lewis Potter, who just puts his boot through it. And Bomo tries to get there in front of Cucurella. Well defended there by the Spaniard. Falls to Tosin and Darby-Oyo. That's a cynical foul by Mbumo. Free kick, and it's taken quickly by the number 4. Caicedo. Back with Chalobah on the halfway line. Chelsea dominating proceedings, but still unable to break through. 77, almost 78 minutes gone. You're listening to unofficial off-tube studio commentary. Brentford 0, Chelsea 0. As Cole Palmer skips away from a couple of Brentford players. Lays it to the right for Fernandez. Little dummy by Neto. Here's Gusto on the byline. Digs out across. No one in blue to attack. And, well, I think it's the case. Oh, yeah, just couldn't take any chances. He's flicked it out for a corner kick for Chelsea.
Yeah, it's not necessarily convincing defending from air. If he gets a shout or if he maybe looks over his shoulder, he probably realises that he can maybe just chest this or head it down into his goalkeeper and just relieve an incredible amount of pressure. But we're once again going to be at a stage where Chelsea have another corner.
Another corner kick for Chelsea. Waiting for this delivery from Pedro Neto. It's an outswinger. Not a great amount of pace, punched away. It'll fall to Mbumo. Maybe a counter-attack opportunity here for Brentford. Mbumo only has Vissa in support. He'll drive at the heart of the Chelsea defence. He lays it in towards Vissa, who gets away from Malagusto, who gives it back to Brian Mbumo. It's a wonderful attack. It's a great save by Robert Sanchez. The first real bit of quality we've seen from Brentford going forward in this game. Great counter-attack between Mbumo and Vissa. As the former's effort that's well saved by Sanchez.
It's brilliant from those two. When we were talking about those Chelsea attackers in the first half, saying they don't necessarily have that rhythm with each other. Well, it's just 2 Brentford players running with 5 Chelsea players trying to defend them, but they've just got that same understanding between each other. They're such a deadly combo linking up, and Rob Sanchez makes a big save, but it is lovely play between the Brentford front men. It truly is. It's going to be a corner now for Brentford. Probably the best opportunity of the game for the home side.
It really is. We'll wait this corner kick to be delivered by Brentford. It's going to be Damsgaard that will take, and Mbumo goes over to offer support from the short. Oh yeah, Norgard, Collins, all in the area. Here is Brian Mbumo. Gives it back towards Damsgaard. He lifts it in. It's dangerous. And the header somehow doesn't end up in the back of the net. What an opportunity for Brentford. Great delivery into the area from Damsgaard. It's Van den Berg unmarked inside the 6-yard box. He's plunged his header into the ground and it's bounced over.
And it's a big opportunity. He has to score. I'm not sure if he means to head it into the ground as instant as he does. He almost runs a little bit too far. He gets underneath the ball way too quick. He needs to let the ball almost meet him in that sense. But that is a massive opportunity for Brentford to take the lead in this one. Well, Will, I just don't think we're going to get a goal at any stage of this game. It's not falling, but Brentford have suddenly woken up in this one.
They have. Maybe that'll offer them the confidence to go forward and really take the game by the scruff of the neck as the ball up top finds Damsgaard. He brings it down, tries to lift it into the area. Johan Visser's header is just wide of the left-hand post, and Sanchez scrambling over to the left-hand side, just wide of the mark, and suddenly this game has burst into life.
And it's Johan Visser at the heart of things again, but brilliant from Damsgaard. Overhead kick cross. Visser wanted it more than Cucurella there, just won the header. He's not a big player, is Johan Visser, but he wins it. He tries to just guide it into that far corner. Rob Sanchez isn't sure, is he? He is at full stretch. He launches across his goal. In the end, doesn't get a touch on it. It just trickles wide. And Thomas Frank probably can't quite believe of the 3 chances they've just had in a few minutes that they haven't taken one of them. Some big opportunities. Van den Berg, the best chance of the game, I would describe it. And Chelsea, who looked like the side that were going to maybe go on and win this game, if anyone was to, just almost lost their edge on things. But as I say that, Chelsea coming forwards.
Yes, Jadon Sancho on the left-hand side. He plays it in towards Enzo Fernandez, about 25 yards out, tries to whip the ball into the area, dealt with well by the Brentford back line. He'll forward to Caicedo. His header is poured further away by Collins, but unconvincingly, so there's a man down for Brentford. The attack continues, though, with Chelsea. It's Pedro Neto. Visser slow to get back onto his feet. He's still down on his haunches. Still the opportunity here for Chelsea. Visser now finally onto his feet as the attack is on. It's Neto on the right-hand side. Palmer gives it back towards Pedro Neto. Tries a few step-overs. Lays it off towards Malagusto. He delivers toward the far side. Really poor delivery, though, by the Frenchman. It will be picked up by Jadon Sancho. Needs some support. The back heel goes through the legs of Ayer, who then recovers and will try and make the clearance. Still tightly marked by Jadon Sancho. Eventually plays it down the line for Visser, who finds Mbeumo. Is even found by Cucurella. He has. That will be a free kick, and Brentford will clear their lines. And it's fortunate for the Bees that they've been able to avoid what was a promising chance there for Chelsea.
Yeah, they certainly have. And Chelsea in the wide area, since Pedro Neto has come out, I'm a massive fan of Pedro Neto. I just think he always plays with 100% intensity, runs at his man every time he delivers, he goes for goal, and it's certainly a massive part of his game. I see a couple of changes coming up for Brentford now. It looks like Damsgaard and Ayer are making way for Jensen and Coyote. So 2 changes to be had for the home side in this one. But yeah, 83 minutes on the clock. It's becoming that really open stage of the game where it's quite end-to-end at times now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, leads to an exciting end to this game.
Yes, fingers crossed. Well, Coyote will come in at right back for Ayer, and it will be Jensen in the centre of the midfield instead of Damsgaard. 2 like-for-like substitutions. It's Flecken that's going to take this free kick here for Brentford midway inside their own half. Looks to float it long towards the opposite wing. Dealt with well by Chalobah, picked up by Neto. Chalobah puts his boot through it, can't find Jackson. Turned away by Van den Berg, further forward by Jensen. Bit of a hit and hope. And Bumo's header won't find a man in red and white. Sancho then cynically fouled by Norgard, and that'll be a free kick for Chelsea midway inside their own half. In regards to the scores in the other Premier League games, it remains Tottenham 2, Southampton 0. It also remains Fulham 3, Liverpool 2 in a thriller at Craven Cottage. And currently Fulham holding on against the runaway league leaders. As Sanchez goes towards the right-hand side. Lays it back towards Adara Bioyo. It's Sanchez once again. Needs some support. Looks up, goes for the long ball for Jackson. Not the greatest of passes there, though, by the goalkeeper. Picked up by Van den Berg. Now it'll be Jensen back towards Van den Berg, who just about gets out of his feet. Back towards Flecken. He will take no chances and hammers that ball away from danger. Finding Mbeumo. Lovely first touch. Tightly marked by Mark Cucurella. Back towards Nathan Collins. Van den Berg under pressure from Palmer. Back towards Flecken again, who gets his boot underneath it to launch it long again. Schade under pressure, unable to get away from Chalobah, but there is a foul by Trevor Chalobah. He was protesting his innocence. It won't go his way, though, and they want to take the free kick quickly here. Jensen, he's gone for the crossfield ball towards Mbeumo. Opportunity maybe here for the Bees. Mbeumo turns away from Cucurella. Back towards Norgard. Mbeumo once again. Through ball, looking for one of Coyote. Doesn't find him, and now maybe a counter-attack opportunity here for the Blues. It's Palmer breaking forward. Right-hand side is Sancho. Palmer, little step over, finds Pedro Neto. Gusto behind him. Here is Malagusto, about 25 yards out. Tries to thread it in towards Palmer. Vital interception there by Jensen. Again, it's cleared away. That final ball for Chelsea is just not paying off for them, Kieran.
It certainly isn't, and the final ball is always falling to someone like Malagusto, who necessarily isn't the most natural with picking that killer pass in behind, and he's not had a great game, Gusto, with his end product, but he's a fullback. As I've just said that, he gives the ball away completely needlessly. Enzo Fernandez wipes his man down and just turns to Gusto almost in frustration. It is so poor from the Frenchman there. Now Fernandez has gone down.
Fernandez is down, clutching his knee by the looks of things. I think he will be shown a yellow card, though, for that tackle by himself on Brian Mbumo. And he's going to be shown a yellow card. I don't think I have really any complaints about that. It was a bit of a swiping challenge on the Cameroonian Brian Mbumo. We'll wait this delivery to be put into the box. 4.5 minutes, well actually 3.5 minutes I should say, remaining of the mandatory 90. Are we going to get that moment of quality to decide this contest, or will it have to be a point apiece between these two London sides? It's going to be Matthias Jensen who will take this free kick. Counting 5, maybe 6 Brentford players that will be making runs at the far post to aim for from this cross. Jensen's delivery looks for Van den Berg at the far post. Here's knocked down, won't find a man in red and white, and it's come to be gathered by Sanchez. And it looks like the energy just beginning to wane from both sides here.
Yeah, it certainly is at the moment. Cucurella driving forwards. He's going to find Enzo Fernandez, but I'd be shocked if we find a goal at this stage now.
I would have to agree. It's looking very unlikely as Cucurella finds Fernandez about 25-30 yards out, will go for goal, and he gets it on target, forces Flecken into a save, but it's a bit of a P-roller and it's a comfortable gather.
Yeah, easy save for Flecken. Once again, it's Fernandez from distance. This time he keeps it down, but a little bit too literal as it just almost rolls across the ground into the path of Flecken, who makes another pretty comfortable save. He's made a few of those today in this one, approaching the 88th minute of this one. Still 0-0.
It is still 0-0 as Malagusto picks it up on the far right-hand side. Here's Sanchez. Gets out of his feet, looks to launch it long. Not exactly the longest of clearances by the goalkeeper, but it will fall to a blue player in Neto. Jackson will pick it up, tries to lift it over the top for Pedro Neto. Poor pass there by the striker. Out of play for a throw-in, and the quality wanes once again. Throw-in for Brentford inside their own half. Remains goalless between these two sides. 88 minutes, 20 seconds gone in this contest. You'll listen to unofficial off-tube studio commentaries. We've got another throw-in for Brentford just inside the Chelsea half, which Jensen wants to take. Doesn't really have the movement ahead of him. He is going to leave it for Keane Lewis Potter to take. Lewis Potter takes a throw to Janelt. Gets it back over the top, looking for Schade, who won't beat Chalobah to it. Will be a chance now for Chelsea to restart things from the back. It remains 0-0 in ours. It's 2-0 still at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's also still 3-2 to Fulham at Craven Cottage. They are about 30 seconds behind ours. Tottenham about 4 or 5 minutes or so. Here is Adarabioyo. Poor ball. It's deflected off of Norgard, but falls kindly to Jackson, who turns away from Lewis Potter. Neto will try and drive. Has Gusto on the overlap. Here is Malagusto. Neto wants it behind him. Here is the Portuguese winger, laying it towards Cole Palmer. Can he take the game by the scruff of the neck? He turns away from one. Will he get a shot away? He lays it off towards Gusto on the right-hand side. He digs out a cross. Dealt with by the Brentford defence. It falls to a man on the edge. It'll now fall again towards the shot for Enzo Fernandez. It was a wonderful drop of the shoulder to carve open the space. But his shot is scuffed and goes comfortably wide.
Yeah, it's another half chance. It's weird. I think Cole Palmer maybe 2 months ago hits that initial effort on the edge of the box. Maybe confidence is low in front of goal from him. He doesn't necessarily strike me as the type of player that would let necessarily confidence be a thing that gets in the way of his quality. But yeah, it's been weird watching Palmer from his introduction in this when he's ticked things along quite nicely in possession, but struggled to get in front of goal. We've hit that 90th minute of the game. Only 4 minutes of added time. It'll be interesting to see. We were expecting Chelsea to be the side to go for this.
Opportunity for Enzo Fernandez. He moves it towards Sancho, who tries to get away from his marker. Now Fernandez, he tries to get a shot away, well blocked by Norgard. 4 minutes of added time. Played 30 seconds of it. It's looking increasingly likely that they're going to have to settle for a point apiece in this contest. Enzo Maresca tries to bark some more orders at his side. A point isn't the worst result, but it would hand the advantage to Manchester City behind them in the race for Champions League football for Chelsea. Of course, they still have Europa League to play for in both the league and in the Conference League, which if they win they will be put into the draw for Europe's second tier competition. Cucurella trying to get away from Coyote, does so well to get on the end of that, and he will hold on to it as well. The full-back eventually makes the clearance, and it's fallen to Jensen, but then it will fall kindly towards Sancho. Edge of the area here for Chelsea. Sancho making his way into the box, needs some support, lays off for Caicedo. Will he go for goal? No, it's Cole Palmer. He might fancy his chances. No, Palmer goes towards Neto inside the box. Neto lifts it into the area. Will it fall to a man in blue? No, it's diverted away by Coyote. Back towards Sancho. Still the attack on here for Chelsea. Ball into the box. Diverted away by Van den Berg. Falls to Schade, and then Yana will make the clearance. And can Brentford hit Chelsea on the counter? Jensen won't accelerate away initially. Cuts it back, and they'll just focus on holding on to possession. Game management here from Brentford.
Yeah, certainly, and that's them acknowledging that Chelsea are growing into things. I can't say this obviously for facts, definitely, but if this attack started for Chelsea, I don't think we'd be seeing 0-0. I think Chelsea would have won this game. It only took them around 10-15 minutes to really find the rhythm and really get out this Brentford side, and since then it has been all Chelsea. But a bit of space now for Brentford, 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, there is still time for a goal if they can create that opportunity, as Jensen spreads it over towards the left-hand side. Opportunity now for the hosts. It's Lewis Potter trying to take on Malagusto. Little drop of the shoulder, being held up well by the fullback. Needs support. He's actually having 3 Chelsea players around him. Lewis Potter waiting for someone to come over, and then has probably done too much here, Lewis Potter, and Malagusto stops it from going out for a corner kick. And then there's a foul on the far side, surely, and Norgard will give away a free kick against Pedro Neto. And that was a real waste there from Lewis Potter. Just wouldn't want to release the ball.
Yeah, and it sort of summed up Brentford's second half. They've only had they had those 3 chances in quick succession, didn't they? A massive chance for Van den Berg where he should have scored, didn't even hit the target somehow. But apart from that almost mad couple of minutes from Brentford, they've really struggled in the second half to create anything, to almost have a sustained bit of possession. So yeah, it's not been great from them.
It's not been great as we enter the final 30 seconds of this contest. Sancho with the opportunity. Fernandez looking to lay the ball over the top. It'll be turned away by Jensen. Now with Tosana Darabioyo over towards the right-hand side. Looks like Southampton have just pulled a goal back against Tottenham. I think it's Fernandez getting the goal there. Palmer, edge of the area, goes for goal, not too far away. I think it's just wide of the right-hand post. That might be the final effort of the game, and it could have been Cole Palmer's day.
Yeah, and that would have been the definition of a buzzer beater, wouldn't it, from Cole Palmer on the edge of the box. Spins a little bit more like it from it. It's not a terrible effort as well. To say he gets no run-up on it, it's just pure, it stands at the ball, pure run-up power. Has to find that top corner. In the end, he looks for the top corner, and it is over the bar. And Michael Oliver has blown his full-time whistle. So, despite Chelsea's almost second half onslaught, some big chances for Brentford as well. It is goalless in the end. It finishes Brentford 0, Chelsea 0.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player